Hi Janine, thanks so much for joining me this afternoon. So we're going to chat a bit about your experience doing the Success Pillars Blueprint program. So I'd love to start first by asking you if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your business, a little bit about your journey in that space in life.
So my name's Janine Tait and I have a wholesale business. So I'm in business with my husband and we wholesale beauty products to beauty therapists throughout New Zealand and Australia. We've been in business for the last 30 years, so it is quite an established business. We have two main brands, Janine, which is an organic skincare brand. Now that was founded by a naturopath from South Australia, Janine Smith, and I met Janine fairly early on in my career. At the time, she was an incredibly successful naturopath working with quite advanced skin disorders, and she was doing that in a uniquely holistic way. So she was prescribing skincare products, but she was also encouraging her clients to make dietary and lifestyle change. So I was lucky enough to learn the principles of holistic skincare from Jan, and when I put that into practice with my own clients, because I was a working therapist at the time, the results I got were astounding. So that really set me on a path of holistic skincare, and all of the professional development and the study I've done since then has always focused on learning more about how to work with the skin holistically. So I ended up studying and becoming a nutritionist as well. The other brand that we have is Bestow Beauty. So that came from my training as a nutritionist, and it is a range of products that are designed to treat the skin and support it from the inside by providing the nutrients you need for skin health. So you consume these products. Both brands center around health. So this is a fairly new way for beauty therapists to work, so there is a lot of training involved as well as marketing the brands. And we also have an operating clinic, Locks Holistic Beauty. So our company, there's many different layers and there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, so I've known Janine for a number of years in different capacities and have always had a great respect for her as a business person and the amazing products and services that her company develops. And so I have to say I was a little surprised in some ways that you expressed interest in the program, because I always saw you as a very well-sorted, well-established business person. So what were your kind of reasons that you felt was a good idea and a good time to engage in taking part in the Success Pillars Blueprint?
Well, I knew that we needed to be focusing on SOPs. My husband's been saying it for years, but it all just seemed too daunting, so I just ignored that. And then what we found is, like many businesses over COVID, we actually exploded with interest, and we ended up taking on about 3 years worth of new stockists in the 3 months that followed our first COVID lockdown. So that actually, growth is great, but it also creates pain. And for us, that was quite a lot to cope with. And we were also experiencing supply issues with companies from overseas also being in lockdown. So I've always loved my work and I've always enjoyed coming to work, but I was finding that it was starting to become a bit of a grind and I was almost resenting it. So for me, I knew I had to do something, and I also could see that my team was under pressure. So I felt I knew I had to I was going to have to employ someone to help reduce the scope of my responsibility in the business. But I also wanted to make it more efficient for our existing team so that we had more space in our day to be creative and to enjoy coming to work, really. So it just so happened that when you presented me with this option, I just straight away knew it was what we needed to do. And I also find that when something is a project and there's a time frame on it and there's external accountability, I know those things work for me and my team. So I knew we were going to smash it out, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are really great reasons, and it's really interesting to hear them reflected back from your perspective, because you can't always know exactly what's going on in a business, and then what solution might come along at the right time. And I have to admit that both yourself and your team have been amazingly diligent and just really front foot forward with taking on board the training and the application in the program. Was there anything that you kind of had when you started that was some of your expectations, or what you thought might happen, or yeah, what were your kind of expectations at the outset of the program?
I knew that we were going to get all of our procedures documented, so that yeah, that was a definite expected. And I also wanted to make sure that a lot of what was in my head was put down on paper, because I'm probably the worst in the business for that, you know, keeping everything in my own head and finding it quicker just to do things myself. So I knew if I wanted to employ someone, first of all, I had to figure out which of my jobs I would be able to pass over, and then make sure that those were put into an SOP template, so that I was setting any new employee up for success, really. So those were my two main expectations. And I also wanted to make sure that if anyone was away within my team, that we weren't under pressure, that we knew exactly what they were doing, and that they didn't have this big handover process. So that was my expectations, and we achieved all of that, definitely.
Cool. And was there anything about the program that was surprising, or that you learnt that maybe you weren't expecting?
Lots. In fact, I would have to say I've written a list here, because it was such an amazing experience, and it's probably one of the best things I've ever done for my business. So the first thing that I found was that it was actually much easier than what I thought. You know, to think of documenting all the systems in your business kind of feels like a big headache coming on, but actually it was really quite painless. And the other thing that I found was that my team, they were just 100% behind it. They were amazing. And one thing that surprised me was how quickly we started seeing benefits of doing it. Like within a few days of doing some of the SOPs, I was noticing that my team were going, yay, you know, that was great, because I didn't have to ask anyone how to do that, or I knew where to find that information. So we were getting our rewards straight away. I also, for myself personally, it was really like a weight off my shoulders, knowing that some of the jobs that I did were actually now someone else was able to do. Like one, for instance, is the export paperwork. I absolutely hate doing it. And it seems every time I do it, they want something else. So it was even great getting one of my staff to actually do it for me was great. But also now, even if I do it, I have a checklist that I can quickly run my eye over and make sure that I've ticked all those boxes. And last time we did an export order, no one came back to me and asked me for anything else. So that was a big one.
That's awesome.
The other thing I think was I didn't realize that I thought this course was all about SOPs and procedures. And what I didn't realize was all the optimization that came out of it. So that was like a whole other section to the course, and it was amazing. Some of my parts of my business work really well, like our dispatch team. It's pretty much mistake proof. So the client puts in an order online, and that just goes from one bit of software to the next. So it is virtually impossible to pack something other than what they have ordered. So I knew that system was working really well, but it gave us an excuse to look at other systems in our business and realize how laborious they were. And it's given us a reason to look at what other ways we could approach them and get a lot more creative. So today I was just talking to Holly, and she was saying, Holly does our marketing, and she's looking at how we can automate the onboarding process. And she was getting quite excited because we're able to do a lot more than what we thought. So looking at other parts of our business and making them run better, to me, it's so exciting. I find that stuff is a real buzz. Yeah, there was a lot I think looking at our systems, we've never been great at meetings, and being able to get a proper system in and make me accountable to have those meetings has been good. So there were lots of things that came out of it, and yeah, I'm absolutely so pleased that I've done it. It was a game changer for us.
Oh, that's so great. And isn't it interesting? I know that for myself as well, when there's a framework and then a time frame and some support and accountability, it does just change the game in terms of being able to actually do the work to get the results right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing I'm interested in, and you have touched on it a little bit as a part of what you've talked about so far, but what have you found to be the difference in your day-to-day life as a business owner, having implemented the program into your businesses?
I think that feeling, like I used to have this feeling that if I looked away from my business for even a moment, I had this fear of losing control of it. So I have a lot more confidence that, I mean, I think it was a slightly irrational fear, to be fair, but
I think we all
resonate
with that to some degree, for sure, though, right?
Yeah, and it meant that I was finding every day I would look at some aspect of the business, and I feel like I've gained my weekends back, and I feel secure in the knowledge that that the processes are being done, and it's not because I didn't trust my team, because I have an amazing team, but I just knew intuitively that I didn't have all of those checks in place. So I feel like they are now in place. So I definitely feel there's a freedom there, and a freeing up of my time, which is great. I also feel like last year, when it was really tough going and we had a lot on our plate, I felt like I'd lost my mojo a bit, and I feel reinvigorated about the business, and I can see my team is really excited about putting new systems into place, and there's a certain freedom in having that extra time just to be creative. And we had moved past that point in a business where we're fighting fires all the time. We weren't in that reactive state, but that extra growth was putting us back to that place. So it's really nice to have the freedom to go, what shall we work on next, rather than what do we have to work on next.
Yeah, hearing you say that just brings me so much joy, because that is my hope, my dream for anyone who participates in this kind of work, is that it will actually have a material impact, not just in the day-to-day grind of business, but in the way that you feel about your life and the way you feel about your business, and having that time and having that headspace and having the option, I guess, to focus on certain things rather than always having the business decide this is where you have to be dragged into today. So that's just so amazing to hear that from you. And would you, just in closing, would you have anything that you would say to someone who might be considering undertaking the Success Pillars Blueprint program?
Do it. Just do it, and prioritize it. Make sure that you follow through and complete it, because there's always something else that tries to push in and delay, you think is more important. But we just found, I think Heidi said a lot during the course, you have to slow down in order to speed up, and that's definitely what we needed to do. We just had to make it an important project. At one point I started thinking, oh, we've nearly finished, I'll start another project as well. And then I pulled myself back and I went, no, we're going to complete this, because I really want to put that full stop there and know that we've done everything that we can to make it a success. In saying that, you do put in place different processes to make sure that you've got continuous improvement. But once they're in place, you can kind of, that you're going to get the automations to remind you about that. So definitely my advice would be just do it. It's probably one of the best things you can do for your business.
Well, that's such great feedback. Thank you for that. And just in closing, I'd like to say thank you to you, Janine, as well, because you have put forth extraordinary effort and determination in putting this in place in your business, and we had some really specific outcomes that we wanted to see come to life as a result. And so it's so delightful to hear that they've materialized, and that future that you're looking towards, you're now living in that future, which is amazing. And for anyone who might be watching at the end of this, definitely go check out bestowbeauty.com, and is it janice.co.nz,
Yes.
because the range of products that is a part of Janine's businesses, they are quite transformational as well, both on an inside and outside level. So it's a truly amazing business that you have, and I know that it's impacting many lives in many different ways. So it's been a joy to be a part of that journey in this context as well. So thank you so much for your time, Janine, and I look forward to continuing to hear you, hopefully in time, still be buzzed out about the systems and improvements and things that are going on. But yeah, thank you as well for your energy and your commitment to making the program come alive in your life and business over the last few months as well.
Oh, well, thank you, Heidi. It's been great, and I really appreciate you giving me that opportunity to do that course, and all of your support and sharing of knowledge was amazing.
You're welcome. Very good. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, Janine. Thanks for coming on.
You too.
See ya. Bye.
See you.